Hello, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to OTEA. Thank you, everyone, enjoying join the meeting. And then today I invited Su to be a speaker. And then she will tell us to make save us money, so we can listen lesson his speak, so we can check something maybe in the school or maybe in a New Zealand class. So right now we welcome the suit. And then before we beginning, I would do like to go over a few rules. If you want to speak, you can open your mic. But right now, the speaker have to speak, so you have to close your microphone. If you have any question, you can you can tap the chat. So right now, we can start the meeting.
So, hi everyone, I'm Celia. Thanks everyone today to join the meeting today. Just briefly introduce myself. So as you all can see from poster, I started to study from Applied Linguistics and Language Studies in John Hopkins University. And it's quite different with my current career, which is working as an accountant. Just briefly explain why it have this transition. So at that time, when I applied for the Applied Linguistics and Language Study department, it is because that, I like academic writing. That's purely the only reason. So that's the reason why I applied for this department. But I think on the first class, our professors, they tell us that, yeah, you know that this is language department. So language is basically a tool for you to use, but it's not like a profession. You can use it as a profession, but the career will be something like if you teach English in the kindergarten, elementary school, or it will be something else like translator or interpreter, which is all not something that I really want to do. So during my 4 years during undergraduate, I started to look like join different societies. I joined the Automatic Control Club and the Student Association, and also I attended some courses under the business school to see like what kind of other profession that I can go through during that time. So after I did some discovery about this, then I realized that, I think accounting is something that I may can pursue in future. So that's why I started to join the accounting department, and accounting become my second major during my undergraduate. And since I have studied some accounting course during undergraduate, so when I graduated at a time, then I can apply for the University of Auckland Business School of the accounting department directly for my postgrad. So I do the online application by myself when I want to apply for my post-graduation. And then after I submit my admission, then I got the offer from University of Auckland. That's what briefly about what all happened. So I'm going to share everyone some slides at this point about my postgrad. So then I started my postgrad journey at the University of Auckland. I'm just going to briefly mention about in New Zealand, how kind of support you can have when you are studying here. So if you are studying your undergraduate in New Zealand, you can get student allowance from the government. It will be basically around 200 New Zealand dollars per week. It will be around, converting to Taiwanese dollar, it will become around 4,000 Taiwanese dollars per week. I think it's quite good as a student that you doesn't have a lot of expenses that have to make at the time. And then student allowance is it is something that you don't have to return it back to the government. But if you are studying postgrad like me, then you can apply a thing called living cost support. So living cost support also they will give you around like 4,000 Taiwanese dollar or 5,000. It depends on your application at that time. At that time, I received around 4,200 Taiwanese dollars per week. And this living cost support is something that you have to return back to the government after you graduated. So if you think that you don't need to apply, you can choose not to apply for it. And also there is another thing I think everyone can apply for is like for scholarships. So scholarship is something that is not taxable. So it's tax-free. And of course, you don't have to return it back. But a lot of people, when they are thinking about scholarship, they will think that, oh, it's something that is very far away. It must be someone who have very high GPA to get it. I don't think that's really all the case, because the fact is, if you go on your school's website, you will realize that there is tons of scholarship there, but none of them have like very few candidates applying it. At that time, I applied for 2 scholarships, and I luckily got it at that time, and it helped me quite a lot. So I think that if you see any scholarship and you are eligible for it, then just go apply for it. I think that if you don't apply for it, who knows that maybe you will be the one who gets it, right? So just go to have a try, which I think is quite worth it, although you need to spend some time, of course, to do the application. But just try it. If you don't try it, who knows what the result will be, right? And then another thing is for undergraduate and both postgraduate that you can do is for student loan. So basically, this is an interest-free loan. As long as you are all staying in New Zealand, if you travel overseas, it may have interest impact on this loan. So the interest rate will vary. I think the interest rate now, if you travel overseas when you are having student loan, it will be around 3.3%. But compared with the home loan interest rate, which is 6 or 7% that you are going to have now, 3.3 is still quite a good deal. So it's some trade-off that you can consider about it. But talking about student loan, at least it is interest-free, which I think is quite attractive and helpful. So if you really need it, you can also apply for student loan when you are studying in New Zealand as well. So these are the government support that I mainly know about in studying in New Zealand. Then after I graduated for postgrad, unfortunately, I graduated around the time that COVID just impacted. So it's quite difficult to enter the job market at that time. And plus, by the way, for New Zealand, they really care about your local experience. So even you are working as a manager in overseas country, when you came to New Zealand, it doesn't mean much to the employers. And so basically, if you want to find your first job in New Zealand, it can be quite difficult. So we will suggest you can work some volunteer works here or do some internship to start to have some New Zealand local experience, and that will make your CV looks better, and the employer will consider, oh, you're trying to engage with the society well. So I think that's some support that you can have. And then there is another thing that you can be eligible for is the job seeker support. If at that time, because I cannot find a job immediately after I graduated at that time. So I received this job seeker support from Ministry of Social Development Department. And it will be around 200 something New Zealand dollars per week as well. So it's similar with the student loans and living cost support that I just mentioned previously, but I think it's quite helpful as well. Also, it doesn't mean that when you receive the job seeker support, then you doesn't have to work anymore. You just lay down at home and then receiving your benefit every day. No, it's not like that. So you have to show that you are proactively looking for a job. You have to prepare your CV, and then I think the government agency, they will have someone to help you do some CV check, and you can update your CV to tailor it, make it suits the job market more, and make it more attractive to the employers, of course. Also, they also help me with my driver license here. So when they helped me to pay for my driver license fee, and I got my New Zealand driver license due to the government support as well, because I think driver license is something quite necessary in New Zealand. There is a lot of jobs that require you to have a New Zealand driver license. So if you have a driver license, it will help you to have more opportunities to apply for other jobs. So that's how I get my job after I graduated from the uni. Then, so after that, everyone maybe want to know how your income is taxed. because I'm working as an accountant. I think maybe that's the main thing that everyone wants to know today. I'm not sure, but well, okay. So talking about income tax. So if when you are finding a job, you got a job offer, the first thing your employer will ask you is, what is your IRD number? So what is IRD number? IRD number is a tax number here. IRD stands for Inland Revenue Department. It is the tax government in New Zealand here. So the tax number is, you just go on the IRD website and then you can apply for it directly. It's quite straightforward. I think everyone can do it. And then after that, your employer will ask you, so what is your tax code? Okay, talking about tax code. Tax code, you have to provide your correct tax code to the employer. So you will be taxed at the correct tax rate, which is quite important here. In most of the cases, everyone's tax code should be M. M stands for your main income. So if this job is the income that you got is your main income, your tax code will be M. If today you receive student loan, as what I mentioned previously, your tax code will become MSL. So this is as per the flow chart that I got from IRD website, MSL. Then there's another thing that is worth to be mentioned. It is independent earner tax credit. So what is this for? This is a tax credit which is eligible for people who earn less than 48,000 per year. You will receive around $520 tax credit, but it is a tax credit. So basically it will be offset by your income tax directly. You may not receive the full amount of $520 directly into your bank account, but it will be offset by your tax expense that you have to pay during the year. And then the tax, if there are any refund, then you will get the refund back to you. So that's how it works. So if today your income is lower than 48,000, then your tax code will become ME. So it will become here, ME, same. If today you have like a student loan with what I mentioned previously, then your tax code will become MESL. So that's how the tax code mainly here works. All right. So how about if this is your secondary income? If this is not your main income, this is like your second income. So your tax code will become S, just like what the slides show here. This is your secondary income. And then same, if today you have student loan, your tax code will have to add an SL behind because your student loan will be repaid on the salary that you receive. So it will be taken off around 12%. So that's how you repay your student loan gradually. Or if you don't want to have student loan, then you at the beginning, then you can choose not to apply for it. But it's once you have the student loan, remember to add SL behind your tax code. So usually it will be S unless you earn other the pay income that you receive is higher, then you will have SB, SH, SA, but it will be something that it will be adjustable. So that's something that I'm going to tell everyone. Okay. So this is for secondary tax code. That's what I'm going to mention. And then, so everyone may know, okay, so how can I get tax deductions? Tax deductions here. I'm talking in the if everyone is earning pay-as-you-earn income, which is PAY income, the only tax deduction which is allowed, it is your tax agency fee. So if today you didn't prepare your own tax return, you hire a tax agent, bracket, which is an accountant, to help you to file your tax return. Then you pay the accountant maybe like $500. And this $500 can be deductible under your income tax expense. Your accountant will do this for you when you are filing your income tax return. So unfortunately, for PAYE people, this is the only deduction that is allowed. But there is another thing that you may be able to claim some deductions back, which is donation tax credit. So in New Zealand, donation tax credit is 33%, which means that if you donate $100 out, you can get $33 tax refund back during the end of financial year. But this donation, you need to ensure that it is made to the approved donor organization. How can you know that if it is an approved organization or not? IRD website has a search engine, and then you can search to see if this is an approved organization. And so you cannot say that, okay, today I donate $100 to my auntie, and then I want to claim $33 back. No, that's not allowable. So you will get a donation tax receipt after you made a donation, and then during the year end, when you are going to claim your donation tax credit back, submit your receipt to Inland Revenue website, and then you will get your tax refund back. So that is another way how people that earn PAY income as us, that we can claim some tax credits back. Okay, so you may ask, so how about, so today, how about my income? How about how is income tax going to be taxed? How much I should be taxed? So there is a tax bracket. New Zealand, they use progressive income tax rate. So as per the chart here, this is the tax rate for New Zealand income tax. So so here, there's, according to this chart, if you earn up to 14,000, then your tax rate will be 10.5. Between 14 to 48,000, it will be 17.5. 48 to 70 will be 30. 70 to 180 will be 33. Then the over 180 will be 39. So it doesn't mean that if today you earn 180,000 before tax, the whole amount will be taxed at 39. Indeed, it will be taxed on it will be taxed progressively. So this is how the income tax rate is being taxed in New Zealand. Of course, there is other tax in New Zealand as well. Like, for example, we have resident withholding tax, we have dividend withholding tax, we have trust. The trust is going to be taxed 33, now it's 39. And then company tax, goods and service tax, fringe benefit tax. We have a lot of tax, so tax is quite a big topic here. So today I'm not able to cover all of them. But just talking about another tax type that will affect everyone in their daily life, which is goods and service tax. So in New Zealand, goods and service tax is being taxed at 15%. So 15, this is being taxed on everything that you purchased. So for example, if I buy like a protein milkshake here, $5, inside this $5 is already included 15% of goods and service tax. So that's the reason why a lot of foreigners, they came to New Zealand and they think that why everything here is so expensive, because everything that you see in the supermarket, in any grocery stores, they all included 15% of goods or service tax. Talking about this, our neighborhood, Australia, they don't charge goods and service tax on necessary items, which is food. So if you talk about tax aspect, the food in Australia will be relatively lower than New Zealand because they don't have this additional 15% tax on it. But I'm not saying that their accommodation cost can be lower than New Zealand. I'm just saying that for the food aspect and the tax thing, it will be lower than New Zealand. So it is something that everyone can think about. It's a current debate here in New Zealand that they are thinking, should they cancel goods and service tax on food, because it's quite unfair for people who are not that rich as well. But it's something that is still discussing progress. So it's not something that is 100% sure that we are going to cancel this tax. But I don't think in long term, maybe not really. But this is something that everyone can think about it. Okay. So everyone, as everyone who stay in New Zealand, like maybe you know the political party changed, the government changed last year. So now we have National Party here. National Party, they introduced a tax relief package. And this is like one of their policy, like their commitment to everyone. So they say that, okay, we are going to have a tax budget and they're going to have tax relief. And this stuff is going to affect everyone in New Zealand. So how it's going to be affect? Basically, the chart that you see here, numbers are going to be changed. So there is a new bracket. The tax rate are the same, but the bracket is going to be changed. So basically, it means that you will have to pay less tax on your original salary, but don't forget that the minimum wages are increasing as well. By the way, the minimum wage per day to date is $23.15 per hour, and it will be around 48,000 per year. So the tax rate, if you earn minimum wage in New Zealand and you work full time for the whole year, the tax rate here is already 17.5, which is not the lowest. So this is the tax relief one that the government will introduce after this month. Also, for the independent earner tax credit, they also change the tax range as well. So if your income earned less previously, if your income is earned less than 48,000, then you are eligible. But now, if your income is earned less than 66,000, then you are eligible. So if you earn less than 66,000, your tax code will become ME. Remember the tax code that I mentioned previously? Yes. Okay. So beside of these tax, there is something that everyone have to pay when they are receiving their salary as well, which is Accident Compensation Corporation. So this is called ACC here. It is like an accident insurance here. So in the same word, it is something that will be deducted every time when you receive your salary. How much it will be deducted? It will be taken off 1.6% per your salary. So, but at the same time, if today you have any accident happen, you can use this like social insurance. So then you go to the clinic and then you say that I'm going to use my ACC, I'm going to claim it. Then you don't have to pay much money on it. So it's like an social security insurance stuff. So this is something that when you receive your salary, it will be taken off as well. But just to let everyone know. And then you may ask, okay, but if today I receive any interest, any dividends, do I need to provide any tax code or something like that? Yes. So when you receive your interest and dividends, your bank will ask you, what is your IRD number? Then you also provide them your IRD number as well. Then we'll ask you, what is your tax rate? So your tax rate will be provided based on this chart that I have on the slide. So if your income is between this range, then you just tell them that, okay, your rate is 17.5. So they will take off the resident withholding tax on behalf of you. Then you get the net amount of interest. And then if you give them the wrong tax rate during the year end, they will still, the Inland Revenue government, they will still notice it. Then you will have to pay more tax back. So even you give them the wrong rate, they will still correct it automatically during the year end. And by the way, the financial year end in New Zealand is 31st of March. So it may be different with Taiwan. Just to let everyone know, if today you have a tax agent and accountant to file your tax return, then you have to file it before 31st of March. But if today you don't have any accountant, your personal tax return have to be done before 31st of July. However, if today you are receiving PAY income, which is pay as you earn income that I mentioned previously, usually IRD, they will do the auto assessment of the tax for you. So they will do the auto assessment and then it will tell you like, okay, so how much refund and how much tax you have to pay. And then that's how the income tax system here work. So I think for most of the people, if today you don't hold a trust, you don't have a company, you don't have any residential income, something like that. If you just earn main income, PAY income from your employee, then you don't need to worry too much about your income tax. However, today, what is being to be taxed in New Zealand? So if today you have a residential rental property in New Zealand, which is earning residential rental income. But you say today, oh, I'm staying in Australia permanently. I'm already an Australia tax resident. Do I still have to pay tax on my New Zealand residential income? The answer is yes, because any income that are generated in New Zealand need to be taxed in New Zealand. So even today, you are already an Australia tax resident. You are already working in Australia, or you stay, or I stay permanently in Australia already, but you still have to file your tax return for that residential property in New Zealand. So that's how the New Zealand tax resident rules here works. And then another thing is if you enter New Zealand for more than 183 days, then you are also becoming the New Zealand tax resident here, which means that all of your income in New Zealand or worldwide income have to be taxed. However, New Zealand, they have a double tax agreement with around 40 of countries to avoid people being double taxed on their overseas income. So it varies case by case, but basically, if you receive overseas income from Taiwan and you are a New Zealand tax resident, then the income that you receive in Taiwan, which has already been taxed seriatically, doesn't need to be taxed again in New Zealand. So that's to avoid that the same income have been taxed twice. So that's something that everyone maybe is interested to know. And there's also some like tax benefit for transitional residents. So if today you say that, oh, I become a New Zealand tax resident because I stay here for 183 days, but the overseas income that you receive within 48 months doesn't need to be taxed because it's like a tax relief period for transitional that you suddenly, previously you are Taiwan tax resident, but now because you become a New Zealand tax resident, so there is a transitional period. So that is something, and then you don't have, so any overseas income during the period doesn't need to be taxed in New Zealand. I'm not saying that it doesn't need to be taxed in Taiwan, but so that is something that maybe everyone will be interested about it. And I hope that everyone gain some insight from my short speech, but feel free to ask me anything if any questions.
Thank you for your good introduction about the New Zealand tax. And I would like to ask, how do the property tax work in New Zealand? For like Taiwan, we need to pay like the house, maybe the yearly fee or the land yearly fee. How about the New Zealand? Do you know this knowledge?
So do you mean that you have a property in New Zealand and how it will be taxed?
Yeah.
So is this property you rent it out or it is your personal main home?
If this is the personal home,
if it is a personal home, because New Zealand for properties, there are quite complex rules. So it distinguishes. So first, it is a personal main home. You have a main home in New Zealand. If you buy or selling it, because it's your main home, so legally, you doesn't have to pay any tax on the capital gain or capital loss, something like that. But if today it is a residential rental property, you are making residential profit on this property, and then you are selling it. It will depend on when you purchase this property and when you are going to sell it. There is a bright line test. So the bright line test is like so if you sell it within 5 years after you buy and purchase it, it's you buy it and then you selling it. You do it within 5 years, then you will have to be taxed on the capital you gained on this property. So basically, New Zealand doesn't have capital gain tax, but due to bright line test coming in, I think the government they want to minimize the property investor to enter the housing market. They try to make more first home buyer to enter the housing market. So that's why they introduce this bright line testing. So if you are making income on this property, then you have to be very careful about when you are going to sell it and count the years between when did you buy it, because it will affect that you have to pay any tax on the capital gain. So does that answer your question? If main home, usually no.
So previously you shared if I am a New Zealand But if I work in the Australia, I need to have the double tax to the New Zealand government, right?
It depends on Australia, because Australia and New Zealand, they have a double tax agreement, which means that we are avoiding people to be taxed twice between Australia and New Zealand. So it's like, but what I shared, the example that I shared is I'm working in Australia, but I'm having a residential rental property in New Zealand, which is generating New Zealand income. Then I will have to be taxed on that New Zealand income with New Zealand government. But my Australia income is still taxed with the Australia government.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if today you are leaving New Zealand for more than 325 days, and then you are working in Australia already, and you earn everything in Australia, you don't have any New Zealand income, and then also your Australia income have been taxed by Australia government as well, then you don't have to pay any other tax with New Zealand, because you already leave New Zealand more than 325 days, so you are not a New Zealand tax resident anymore.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
No worries.
If don't have any question, I have some question here, because I think New Zealand is many big place. So how to make a friend in New Zealand? So maybe something, because people and people have a big disparate. So I don't know how to make a friend, because in Taiwan every people is just very near. So I think something is different. So this is a question.
So I'm not that good at making friends as well, but I'll just share some of my personal experience about how I have some Kiwi friends here. So I think that the first is try to go out of your comfort zone, which means that don't keep talking with people who speak in Chinese. So try to talk with other peoples, and then try to talk with those local Kiwis. The most difficult part may be that you have to understand their slangs, because they will have, these things are not something that you will learn on a textbook, to be honest. And then you need to communicate more with the people who live here, and then that's how you get it. So like, for example, recently between our colleagues, we like to say something like, we Gucci. Gucci is a Gucci, Chanel, that's Gucci, the fashion brand. What does that mean? So that means that we all good. So it's something that if you don't talk with them more, you will never understand what they are talking about. They will also have something like, oh, slay. It means that, oh, fantastic, great, something like that. But if today you keep talking with I'm not discriminating Asian group, but if today you keep speaking Chinese and then staying in your comfort zone, you will never know these. And if you don't know these, then it's very difficult for you to initiate your communication with them, because if you want to be in the same group with them, they will, like, you have to know what they are talking about. And what they are talking about is not something like you will know, you can know without trying to communicate with them. I think the Kiwis that I know, they are all quite friendly. If you are there to ask, if you don't know anything, you just ask them. They are happy to explain to you. They understand that English is not your first language as well. So they will try to explain to you that, oh, what does this mean? Then you will learn more. So why don't you just try to talk with them? I usually don't assume that people, they are different with me. I just think that, oh, we are all human. Just try to talk and try to interact with them. Maybe we cannot be friends, but it will be good if I can learn something new, right? So that's what I think.
Hi, yeah, thanks for your presentation. That's very, very good. Um, I'm not good at the accounting. My wife, she helps me. So, because you are a professional accountant, so my question is, what's the common mistakes from your experience when people, they ask help from you and you can give them some will benefit from with your assistance. Do you know what I'm asking?
What kind of mistake you are referring to? At this
Common. So just common things.
common sense, like accounting mistake or like
Like something is tax returnable, but they don't list regulations and they didn't apply. Things like that.
usually if we saw some mistake, because there are some clients that they are quite they think that they know their business well, so they want to do their own tax, they want to do their reconciliation, so we will do the check for them. If there is something that we realize it is not claimable, for example, we did see there is some case that the client put their kids' flight ticket into the company expenses, which is not claimable, obviously. And we will explain to client, and we will bring it out and then take it out to client and say that but this is not claimable, so unfortunately you should not put it under your company expense. But at the same time, if we see something that is claimable and they put it under their shareholder accrual account, which is drawings, we'll also tell them that this is claimable, so we will adjust this for you, so you will be able to claim this. So usually if client they want to do their own books, we don't really mind, it's okay, but we will do the final check at that and then tell them what is claimable, what is not. It's like when you educate client, when you give client this knowledge, they can also do their books correct next year as well. And when they do their books correct next year, it also less the work for yourself as well. And also client will be happy to know that, oh, this is claimable or this is not, right? So if there is any mistake the client did, but we'll also tell them that, oh, you should claim this, or this is not. But it's something that is quite difficult to distinguish, to be honest, because the tax rules are changing every year. But we will try our best to tell our clients and then tell them that, oh, you can do this or you cannot. That's how usually we do it.
In Australia, the financial year is the end of June, so we just finished this financial year last month. Yeah. I think many things. Okay. The question I want to ask is: do you think the mobile phone fee is claimable?
For personal mobile phone?
Yes.
Claimable under the company?
Or for personal income, or like a sole trader, or maybe for some. If that's for a company, it's not claimable.
Okay, so first, for mobile phone fee, if it is for personal income tax return, it's not claimable, because for personal income tax return, you can only claim accounting fee. If it is for sole trader, that's a different case, because sole trader means that you manage your business by yourself. That will be claimable, but it cannot. But even it is, but for sole trader, it will not be 100% claimable. Personally, I think it should be only 50% claimable, because you don't use your mobile phone 100% for business use, right? You also have it sometimes for your personal use as well. So for your question, I think it will be 50% claimable. But if it is a company phone and the phone is under the company's name, that is a different scenario. That will become 100% claimable, because the phone is under the company's name and the phone is all for the company, 100% for company usage. So it will become 100% claimable. So it really depends where that phone is named under and how it was used like.
Thank you so much. You are very experienced.
Thank you. I think that for Taiwan, to be honest, I don't think both are that different. If you are talking about the school aspect, I think my life in Taiwan and life in New Zealand are quite similar. Maybe it's because in Taiwan I studied applied linguistics and language study. We also have a lot of assignments to do. We have a lot of exam as well. It's quite similar as in New Zealand. New Zealand has a lot of exam and assignments at the same time. So I don't feel that big difference. But I think that the main point is when doing studying, you have to focus on the study by yourself. Like you are not accepting anyone to try to come to help you. If you have any questions, then just go to ask the professor or the tutor directly. But besides of that, I don't think there is quite much difference, to be honest. I think probably there is a difference that is in Taiwan. They focus more on individual works, while in New Zealand, we focus more on like group project or group assignment, something like that. So you have more chances to communicate and then to talk with other people instead of just talking with your friends. So I think maybe that's a main difference that I had. But besides of that, I think overall is both. I enjoy both lives, to be honest. I think both places are quite nice. They each have their pros and cons, but the reason why I'm staying in New Zealand right now mainly is due to the annual leave. Okay, so in New Zealand, they have 20 days of annual leave every year. In Taiwan, not that much leaves. I personally will prefer a work-life balance. I don't like to work overtime. I don't work overtime. So, but in accounting industry, especially in Taiwan, working overtime is something very common. And it is something quite unacceptable for me, because for me, I will think that work is not 100% of my life. I still need my personal life. I mean, after work, I still want to go to gym, read my own books, or just chilling and playing with my phone, whatever. But I don't want to work, like spend 16 hours at work. I feel that that's very exhausting, and it will make me not that enthusiastic to my work as well. So that's the main reason why at this point I'm not considering going back to Taiwan to work at this point, because I think that I don't want to work overtime. I want to have a work-life balance. And that's what I said during my interview with my boss as well. Like I tell him directly that, oh, I don't want to work overtime. I come and then I work for you like 8 hours. I focus my 100% during this 8 hours, but I don't want to have like 9 hours or 10 hours, and it makes me feel like, oh, my personal time is being invaded. So that's what I think that the main reason, like why at this point I'm not yet considering going back to Taiwan. I may go back to Taiwan at one point, but not this time, I think.
In New Zealand, the university and the Taiwan university, the professor is different. But I don't know. For example, in Taiwan, we have so many tests, but I don't know. In New Zealand, have so many tests have to pass, or I don't know.
Well, there is a stereotype that people say that, oh, in foreign countries, you don't have a lot of tests, you play every day, or you just have group assignment. No, it's not like that. It's really not like that. I have a lot of exams, to be honest. I think probably it's due to I'm studying accounting, because there is a lot of things that need to be assessed by exam for accounting department. Probably other department doesn't work like that, but for accounting, yes, I have to say like that. And then it's same for in Taiwan as well. For Taiwan, when I study the subjects under accounting departments, all of them are exams. They all test you by exams. But I personally doesn't really like exam, because I think that in real life when you work, you don't really have a time pressure for doing these things. I mean, as long as you have the ability to research and to validate the information that you got, then it should be sufficient, isn't it? But in New Zealand, unfortunately, accounting department still have a lot of exam. I think my previous exam occupied like 60% of my final grades. So they have exam, and it occupies it weight quite a lot as well. So I think that still have a lot of exams, but I personally doesn't really like that. It's quite nice to be a student as well, because you have some opportunities to learn, and also like you have a space to make mistake. So like it's not like at work, like if you made some mistake, you may cause quite a big loss for either client or someone. But in the school, at least when you make mistake, it's just like taking off some marks and just warning you that, oh, this is a mistake, be careful, something like that. That's a good thing for studying as well. I personally quite like studying. To be honest, if I can, I will consider to study more for doctoral degree. But just because talking realistically, I'm studying accounting, and accounting is something that focus on practical experience. So if I don't come out to work, then I don't have any practical experience. I may consider to study more after my career progress to a certain stage, but not at this time.